Hello there, fellow comic fans. Thanks very much for stopping in. Tonight we're going to be celebrating the end of the Crimebusters Volume 1 Kickstarter, so I'm really excited. That ends at 9 o'clock, so we've got 1 hour here to count down the final hour of the Crimebusters Volume 1 Kickstarter. As always, I'm just a little bit late getting this started. I always have technical issues with StreamYard, which is the service that I use to do these live streams, but I got it sorted out. So we'll hopefully have no more trouble after this. So I'm just going to start by showing the Kickstarter. Emmanuel says hello. Hi, Emmanuel. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I know it's late where you are. So let me just show here it is, the Kickstarter. As you can see, we got 58 minutes left. So this is Crimebusters Volume 1. Everything has been leading up to this. So it's just about 5 years ago when I started working on the first issue of Crimebusters, and now we've got 5 issues done, collecting them into one volume. So it's really exciting for me. I can't wait to sort of get this in, book form and have it on my bookshelf. Here's my wife. Hello. Thanks for joining me. So it's been really exciting. So I'll show the Kickstarter just real quick for people who may not be familiar with it. But the top line, the lead of this story is that we have funded. So thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate it very much. And we've had the funding goal of $2,900. We hit that last night just before bed. Now we're at $3,283. We do have some excitement here in the last hour because I did have a stretch goal set at $3,300. So we're $17 away from that. And that will unlock a new trading card. I love my trading cards. So I'll just scroll down here, the campaign, but either way, the books are going to exist now. It's going to come out. And so I'm really excited. Really excited to just be able to get this book and share it with everybody. So here's the book cover for the regular edition. It has the cover from issue 2, but with new trade dress, sort of inspired by the Choose Your Own Adventure books from the 80s. And here's the stretch goal. I was originally going to do a Death Mask trading card because we still some of the villains or antagonists, mysterious characters from the first 5 issues, I still don't have trading cards for. But I decided to go with Dr. I, who's going to be playing a bigger role in the next few issues, particularly issue 7. So we could get that card out there. And again, we're very close to having that done. My father-in-law, John, hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Joanne. Thanks so much for joining me. And thank you again for your support. I really appreciate it very much. Thanks for watching. And let me just scroll down here. So one thing that I added, sort of new, people may not have noticed because it wasn't in the original launch, is I did decide to add a variant cover gallery in the book. So whatever version you get, you're going to get to see all the covers. In the back of the book, there's going to be the cover gallery. It's going to show all the variant covers. Here, this is just some of them. There's more than this actually. So it's going to end up being, I think, almost about 20 pages for that. I was originally going to do that as the stretch goal, but I decided pretty early on that whether we hit the goal or not, I really wanted this in the book just to make the book as cool as possible. I want everyone to be happy about it and enjoy it and feel like they've got a good value, because I know the book is quite expensive. So I decided to add this in, even though it did add quite a bit of money to the printing costs. But I think it's just going to make for a better product. So, okay, Emmanuel says I need to refresh the page. Ooh, sure enough, we just hit that hit that stretch goal. Well, thanks very much for the support. I really appreciate it. So we've just hit the $3,300. That means that everybody will be getting the Dr. I trading card. If you have a physical reward, you'll be getting a physical version of the card, but there'll also be a digital version going out to everybody. This didn't even occur to me the first several campaigns I ran, but eventually I realized, hey, I could just take these images and put them in the PDF to share them with everybody. So I really enjoyed doing the trading cards. The backs of the trading cards have sort of background information about the characters that you may not know from the comic, because it's hard to get, spotlight so many characters in the comic. So if you read the backs of the cards, you'll actually get quite a bit of bonus sort of world building and depth to the characters and the stories. Thank you. Thanks so much, Emmanuel. And now everybody will be getting that. And then here's on the main page is just the section where I have the samples of the issues. I wanted to have at least one page from each issue. They're not in order, but so this is a page from issue 5. And then here's a page from issue 2 and a page from issue 3. This one's from issue 1. And then there's a double page spread from issue 4. And I tried to pick pages that had were representative of different aspects of the series. So that seemed to people seem to like it. I definitely liked it. I tried to pick some of my favorite pages. The page of the stairway from the first issue is my favorite page from that issue, for instance. And then I have a little thing here where I'm spotlighting the rewards. So I mentioned the variant covers. A lot of people like to just get the Trixie's variant, or they just get the Boy Comics variant. So I want to do that for the trade as well. The interior is going to be slightly different. So basically every issue is going to start with the cover for that issue. So if you have the Trixie version, it'll have the Trixie cover at the beginning of each issue. And then the regular cover will be included in the gallery in the back of the book. And it's the same with the Boy Comics variant here. If you get this, the regular, the cover that you'll have in front of each issue will be the Boy Comics variant, and then the regular edition will be in the back with the variant gallery. This was my little homage to Jim Steranko. I love doing the homage covers. So then just a little spotlight on the different rewards, which I won't get into here. Here's a picture of me excited to get issue 2. And that's pretty much it. Just some details about this. So I guess I could talk a little bit about the details of the campaign now that we're funded, and we only have 51 minutes left. So what's going to happen from here is, well, let me back up a little bit. So tomorrow, if you're in the Boston area, I'm going to be attending MICE. I'll have a table at MICE, the Massachusetts Independent Comics Expo, both tomorrow and Sunday. I was really hoping to debut the trade there. I was sort of racing against time to get the campaign, not the campaign, the Kickstarter campaign, but to get the actual files done. And I was going to print just a handful of advanced copies so I could have them at the convention tomorrow. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough time, and the printer couldn't turn around fast enough. So I haven't quite finished the finishing touches on just a few pages. It's 96% finished, but there's a few tweaks that I want to make to some of the coloring that was done. Issues 1, 2, and 3, which are originally black and white, they're all going to be in full color here. So I had a colorist do the colors, and there's just some tweaks that I need to finish doing on some pages in issue 2, and it'll be done. So my plan is to have that sent to the printer in about 2 weeks. And so then by the end of the month, everyone will get the digital version. And then the physical version, hopefully we'll get it back from the printer in November and send it out at the end of November, early December, which is my original time frame. So everything's on track for that. I'm almost finished putting it together. I have another Kickstarter that I'll talk about when we get to the end of this. that's going to be launching on the 23rd for quest number 2. So my plan is to definitely have the Crimebusters Volume 1 sent off to the printer before that. So by the 23rd of October, this will be at the printer being printed. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. If you haven't been to the campaign in a while, you may notice that there's a button here to play a video, which I could do here, but I'm not going to. But yes, I finally added a video yesterday. It's one of the things everyone's supposed to do when they first launch their campaign is put the video up there. But I haven't been great about doing that the last couple campaigns, so I just got around to it yesterday. So that's pretty much where we're at. 3303. Again, we got 80 backers. It's really exciting. I'm very happy that many people have decided to support me again. I really appreciate it. I knew that we were probably going to get fewer backers this time than for the last couple issues of Crimebusters, because there's a number of people that have backed all 5 issues of Crimebusters. They already have the original issues. And even though this is now in color and stuff, there's some people that either don't have the money to spend to get stories they already have, or they just prefer to stick with the individual issues. So I knew that we would probably be down because a number of people just aren't going to be picking up the trade, even though they'll continue to come back for issue 6. So I'm really excited to get to 80 backers. It's really great. So again, thanks very much. I'm just going to pause for a minute to get a drink. If anyone has any questions about anything about this campaign, about the comic, about future issues of the comic, about anything, other comics, things that don't have anything to do with comics, whatever you want to ask, go right ahead. You can formulate your questions while I'm enjoying a beverage. All right, I'm back. So let me stop sharing that. What I'm going to do is there's a couple other Kickstarters that I wanted to mention that are also about to end. And I thought I would just mention that. Let me share this one with you. So speaking of mice, I've got a question. It's from my wonderful wife, Brooke. Which is your favorite comic convention to host a table at? It's a good question. I've never done mice before, so I can't really factor that in here. I would say probably Leominster, although of course when we tabled at Leominster last month, Plastic City Comic Con, it turned out to be a complete disaster. Because I ended up getting sick in the middle of the convention and missed the whole second half of the convention. But I'd say Leominster. I like, it's not actually even in Leominster anymore. It's in Fitchburg, technically. But that's a show. I like the location. The new location was great. I like the vibe. I just like the feel of it. So hopefully we'll be back next year. And, I enjoy Athol as well. It's a little farther drive for me. If anyone feels like joining me at Athol, I'll be there on October 14th. But I think Plastic City is probably my favorite so far. Emmanuel says, not a question per se, but Amazon is a huge deal on Usagi Yojimbo. Given that I've raved about the series so much, I grabbed the first 9 volumes. I hope you're proud of yourself. I am proud of myself for that one. I'm going to stick with that recommendation. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think there's like 29 volumes out now. And they're all good. It's good right from the beginning. It does get better and better as it goes, just because I think the creator he starts putting more and more depth into it. He gets better as he goes, but it's good right from Jump Street. So I don't think you'll be disappointed with that one. All right, let me see if I can show you this other Kickstarter here I was going to talk about. Okay, here we go. It is Good Cop versus Bad Cop, the graphic novel. So speaking of mice, if you're going to be in Boston and attending the Massachusetts Independent Comics Expo this weekend, or if you've been to any conventions in the Boston area for the last couple of years, you may already be familiar with Calvin and Niall Hennick. As it says here, an action comedy graphic novel from a 12-year-old illustrator and his writer dad. When they started, I believe Niall is the son and Calvin is the father, but I'm not 100% sure. Pretty sure. I think Niall was only 9 when I got the first issue of Bad Cop versus Good Cop. And they've come a long way. The art's definitely getting better. They've started printing in color with like professional printers. The first issue that I got was photocopied, stapled together, which I love. But they've got a campaign here. They put out enough issues where they're collecting them in a graphic novel. You can see they've already hit their funding goal, but it's really cool to see the kids just following their passion to make comics right from when they're a child. Here's some of the pictures here. I don't have all of these issues yet, but but I do have enough to say that you can really see how far Niall's art has come just in the last couple of years of doing this. So looking forward to getting more issues from them when I see them tomorrow. So I just wanted to mention that. Also, there's only so much I can say about my own campaigns. So it's good to talk about someone else's for a little while. So yeah, that's only got 20 minutes left. So if you're interested in backing Bad Cop versus Good Cop, that's actually going to end before Crimebusters does. So just wanted to share that. And let me see. I've also been hard at work on on several different things, but issue 6 is coming along with Crimebusters. So maybe I'll give you a sneak peek at some of that. Because there's a couple things in issue 6 that I'm really excited about. Hope everyone else will be as well. Trying to see if I can share some of these pages with you. All right. There's a lot of me trying to figure out how to share stuff on this technology. I just think I spend half of the time on these just figuring out how to share stuff. Let me try this. Okay. Okay, can everyone see that? Okay, here we go. So here's a black and white page. Mac Radwanski is the artist that's doing Crimebusters art for me now, and I really like. He has the cartooniness, but also he has a real dramatic use of shadow and light and stuff. So I'm a big fan of his stuff. I just want to show this page because, as you can see, it's sort of a flashback sequence. Our characters, Chuck and Trixie, are hearing about a case that's happening on the other side of the country that ties into something they're doing. And what I'm really excited about is these two characters here that are investigating this. And they find the skeleton here is the Hardy Boys. I was so excited when we started working on issue 6. I realized that the Hardy Boys entered the public domain on January this year, in 2023, so a few months ago. So I had this sequence in the story, and I immediately rewrote it so that it could be the Hardy Boys. So there's like a 2.5-page sequence of the Hardy Boys investigating a mystery, and then they sort of communicate what happened in their case, Chuck and Trixie, and it ties into the rest of the story. But I was just really excited to do that. Obviously, I'm really waiting for Nancy Drew to enter the public domain. That'll be January 1st, 2025. So just a year and a half. Definitely going to do a story where Trixie teams up with Nancy Drew as soon as I can, which will be in 2025. So, but anyway, that's just one of the things I'm super excited about for this issue here. I'll show you a couple other pages here that have some cool stuff on them. Let's see. Technology. And again, if anyone has any questions about anything, please feel free to ask. Let's see. Here's another page. This is more of the flashback sequence, but I particularly wanted to show this page here. The art's not finished. Obviously, it's just the line work, so there's going to be more detailing coming in. But here in the last panel, Trixie shows the photo of the potential victim that they have to go save. This was one of the readers who chose a pledge level when I was doing the campaign for issue 5. There was a reward tier where you would be written in as a murder victim in issue 6. And so she's like, this is the guy, we've got to go save him. And then there's a whole sequence. It actually turned out to be a much larger role than I was anticipating, but there's a whole sequence that revolves around this guy who's someone that I've known, a friend of mine from online for many years. Actually, I can't see who's actually here, but Emmanuel, if you're still here, it's our friend Mark Squire. Is the murder victim in this issue, so it's a must read for everyone on the old Avengers mailing list to see Mark Squire get it in the neck. Emmanuel says, if you add the 3 investigators, every one of my child room amateur detectives will be in the book. Man, I wish I could. Actually, before I did the comic book, I started writing a prose version just for myself. Of a story that eventually became issue 1 of the series, and in that version, one of the 3 investigators was in that story. But unfortunately, here in the U.S., they're not in the public domain, so I can't really use. I could use analogs, like I can make up my own versions of 3 investigators, but that's not quite as fun for me. Like the fun for me is using the actual characters. So for now, I'm not going to be doing that. But as soon as I can, if I'm still around when that becomes possible, I'll definitely be using them. I was just talking about the 3 investigators with my wife recently, because it wasn't, it's only a couple of years ago that I discovered that the 3 investigators are really popular in Germany, and they're still putting out live action movies and new books and stuff over there. So I've watched a couple of the trailers, but I haven't actually watched I think I watched the first 5 minutes of one of them, but I didn't watch the whole thing. But I love the 3 investigators. So if I can ever use them, I definitely will. Well, let's just check back in and see how the campaign's going. Guessing it's probably at the same place but we'll take a look. Sharing the screen. Let me do a quick refresh here. Yeah, 3303, 80 backers, 35 minutes to go. Typically, it's pretty rare to get much activity in the last hour. One or 2 backers at the most. usually when it's this close, people don't show up at the last minute. I've had a couple campaigns where I had people cancel pledges in the last like 10 minutes, but generally speaking, so I don't expect there to be a big surge at this point, but that's fine. And it would just be more entertaining for you as viewers if these numbers were changing all the time, like a telethon. But I mean, obviously, I'm very excited to have funded, and the dollar amount's not as important as right now as the backer count, because I want to get the stories out to more people. So the more people that come in that will be getting stories, the better at this point. So that'll be, if we get a couple more people, that'll be exciting. I'm just going to get another drink here. Again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to comment or ask questions. All right. Well, while we're looking at this, maybe I'll call up a couple things from Quest. Just show you a little bit. I've really been working hard on issue 2 of Quest as well. That Kickstarter is going to be starting in just over 3 weeks. 3 weeks from Monday. So we got most of the. At this point, we've got most of the covers are done. All right, let me see. So I'll show you those. Let's see. So here's the regular cover. Oops. It's an homage cover by Rock Alves. And Rock Alves is the artist for issues 2 and 3. I love the art that Marcos Lima did for issue 1, but his schedule wasn't quite available to do both issues 2 and 3. And since it's a 2-parter, I didn't want to change artists in the middle of the story. So I I decided to just change artists for issues 2 and 3. And so this is the new artist, Rock Alves, who's doing the interiors for those 2 issues, and really cool cover. It's an homage, as I mentioned, to Alex Ross's cover for 2019 Savage Sword of Conan #1. So I'm excited to get this out, as soon as possible, which will be October. We have a question. My wonderful wife, Brooke, asks, looking at the Crimebusters issues 1 to 5 collectively, do you find any themes or recurring ideas that you didn't notice when you worked on the individual issues? It's a good question. Well, there's definitely themes and recurring ideas. I can't say that I've noticed anything that I didn't notice while I was working on them. There were some themes that sort of I realized were taking place by issue 3 or so, and at that point I sort of leaned into them. One of the things that's been tricky about writing the series is I want each issue to be satisfying on itself. So I'm trying to do each issue as a self-contained story with a beginning, middle, and end. So if you just read the one issue, it works. I knew I was going to be collecting it for issue 5 in this trade collection. So I also wanted it to be a satisfying read for if you read all 5 of them together. So I had to try and get little character arcs in each of the 5 individual stories that also contributed to a larger character arc for all 5 issues. And I was trying to have character arcs for both Chuck and Trixie, different arcs. And then I'm also trying to write, the whole story is going to be 30 issues. So this 5-issue block is sort of one set of themes. And so thematically, we're going to be exploring, and character-wise, the arcs for the characters in issue 6 through 10 is going to be a different arc with different themes. But, obviously the arc for Chuck was, dealing with the loss of his parents, and how that's affected his mental health, which is obviously partially autobiographical, but also plays in like the character's backstory. The character in his first appearance back in 1942, his parents were killed, and if you read all the stories, he just immediately jumps into action, and he's just in action. He never stops over the 14 years of that series to reflect on anything. So I wanted to do that for the character, is to sort of have him, now that he's older, because those all take place when he's a teenager. Now that he's turning 20 in the course of this collection, have him start to mature and reflect on things. Whereas Trixie's arc is about how she gains sort of confidence. At the beginning of the series, she's kind of fake it till you make it in terms of being the detective and being the fearless detective. And she realizes in issue 2 that, she starts to have worries that she's going to mess things up. And so by the end of the arc, she sort of gained confidence by learning how to do things. So I knew that those were going on. Again, the Chuck in particular, I realized I was sort of bringing that back by issue 3, had sort of touched on in each issue. And so that sort of rounded out for it, sort of tie that off with issue 5. But I don't know. I mean, if I go back and read them later, I've been so focused on writing issue 6 and I'm starting to work on writing for issue 7 that I haven't really gone back to reread them that much, other than when I'm working on the art. So if I read them again in a year or two, maybe I'll see something different that I didn't initially intend or realize was there. Thanks for the question. If anyone else has any questions, of course, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm going to show a couple more quest-related things here. In the meantime, let's see. Okay. Nope, that's wrong. Okay. Technology. Here we go. All right, we just showed the regular cover for quest number 2. Here's the Unending Quest variant. So this is the one that's designed to look like the Endless Quest Pick a Path to Adventure books from TSR from the 80s. So it has the same artwork as the regular cover by Rock Alves, but I've added this trade dress and the frame and everything to make it look like those book covers, which I was a big fan of as a kid. So in issue 1, the Unending Quest variant was only available as an add-on, so you had to buy something else, and then you could add on this cover in addition to that. This time around with issue 2, it's just going to be its own reward tier. So if you just want to get this version, you'll have that option. I really like doing themes with my variant covers, like I do in Crimebusters. I'm doing the same sort of thing here, where if you want to get the Unending Quest covers for every issue, for instance, you can just get those and have a whole matching set of those. And man says, I'm getting a very Red Sonja vibe from this cover. Funny you should mention Red Sonja vibe, because actually, let me show you the other cover There's also what I call the classic throwback variant. Now, last time for issue 1, I did an homage to the cover of Conan the Barbarian #1. Here for issue 2, now most of this cover I composed and drew myself. Everything other than the figure of Vess, the paladin. But the figure, her pose, and everything here is an homage to Frank Thorne's cover for Red Sonja #1. I love the character Red Sonja, not so much most of the stories she actually appears in. I used to have a complete run of all of the Marvel Red Sonjas, and they were consistently disappointing and mediocre. So I got rid of them all. But I still wanted to pay tribute to the character. So I took the pose, from that Frank Thorne cover. Then I just changed all the other elements to fit the story that I'm doing. Obviously, that cover was later. It was like, I don't know, 75. So it was a different trade dress. But my favorite period for Marvel design is the 20-cent frame covers. So that's what I did here. I did the 20-cent frame era cover. So it's like a partial homage. I'm not sure how many people would probably clock it as being a Red Sonja homage if I'm not pointing it out. But I did want to pay tribute to Frank Thorne and to Red Sonja. I like the character, but I don't like Red Sonja's chainmail bikini look. So one thing with Vess is you're not going to see her in a bikini at any time. She's going to be wearing full armor pretty much at all times, because I just didn't like that. Red Sonja's original look where she had the chainmail shirt, full chainmail shirt, that is definitely my favorite look for her. Let's see, of course. Oh, and there's one more cover from Quest 2 that I want to show, of course, which is the artist's spotlight cover. The artist is named Mannix, and he really knocked it out of the park with this cover, which I absolutely love. It's probably my favorite cover for Quest, for any of the Quest covers. I mean, we had the movie poster cover by Erwin J. Rosa for the first issue was really excellent. It shows all the characters, but this picture of Vess is probably my favorite. I've got prints made. I put it on the trading card. I think I'm going to make a t-shirt for myself with this. I just absolutely love this. So this is going to be one of the variants that people can get. There's also going to be a metal version of this, so there's not going to be any logo on it. It's just going to look just like this. There's still one more cover left, which is the RPG edition, which is the cover that looks like the old D&D modules. I don't have that one finished. I guess I could show you the work in progress. Those of you who are D&D fans will recognize the work in progress as well. It's going to take me a minute to get that called up. Let's see. Technology. Here we go. Here it is. So those of you who are D&D fans will recognize this as Keep on the Borderlands, which is the introductory module that came with the base set back in the early 80s. And my favorite module of all time. Now that features, there's an archer here standing by a tree. So I've made that into the ranger character from the comic. And then I've replaced the warriors down below. I put Vess here in place of a knight. I've also replaced the goblins or whatever they're fighting with these monsters here. Obviously it'll make more sense, like it'll be when it's done, it'll look different because it'll have all the colors and the shading and the inking. So I'm only partway finished, but I'm a huge fan of this module. So I knew right from the get-go that this was going to be the variant for this issue. I try and pick module covers that match the stories as well, and this is they're actually visiting a keep on the Borderlands in this issue, so it made perfect. It just fit everything. But that's Quest 2, just a little preview. Again, that'll be coming out October 23rd. The Kickstarter will launch, so we'll see how that goes. I've done one previous Kickstarter that went into November. That one I launched on the 28th and ran it through to Thanksgiving, and that campaign did not go well. It's a bad time of year, but I'm putting out so many comics these days that I don't really have a choice. Like I can't really wait to put it out till after the holidays because I have stuff that's that will push everything else back. So Crimebusters 6 will be done by the end of the year, and that's going to be coming out Kickstarter hopefully the middle of January. And then I've got a romance comic coming that'll be coming out after that, end of February hopefully. And then Quest 3 will be out beginning of April, mid-April. Like that's what I'm hoping will happen. So we'll see how it actually goes, but that's the plan at the moment. Even though this is not a great time of year to be launching, I mean November, December is the worst time. In order to keep everything else moving, that's just the way it goes. So all right, let's take a look back at the campaign. We're inside 20 minutes here. So take another look back at the old Crimebusters Volume 1, which is what we're here to talk about. I'll just refresh that again because it doesn't always auto refresh. So 17 minutes left, $3,303, 80 backers. Again, thanks so much for all the support, for joining me. We've got 17 minutes left to count down, so plenty of time to ask any questions. I've got a couple more future Kickstarters I can tease here momentarily for those who are interested. But for now, I'm just going to get another drink. One thing that I've got something else I can show in a minute. But before I get to that, one thing that is that I'm hoping to do next year, but it's going to take quite a bit of time at my end, so I don't know for sure if I'm going to have the opportunity to do this. But I've been teasing this for a little while. Character Granny Gumshoe is a favorite of mine. First used her in Crimebusters 3, but then also in Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam 1 and 2, and she appears at the end of Crimebusters 5, little cameo. She's got a cameo coming up in issue 6 as well. She's going to be an important character going forward, and everyone seems to love Granny Gumshoe. So what I've been doing behind the scenes is I've been slowly trying to put together a complete run of all of her original Golden Age stories. She only appeared in 14 issues. It was National Comics numbers 57 to 70. So that was like 1947, 48. And I finally just bought the last 2 issues I needed. So I've got all 14 of those issues now. And what I'm hoping to do is put together a 100-page giant like I did for Crimebuster. I had the Crimebuster 80th anniversary special where I had like 66 pages or 65 pages of reprints of Crimebuster stories from the Golden Age. This 100-page giant is going to reprint the complete Granny Gumshoe, all of her Golden Age stories, every appearance she's ever made up until when I used her. And the thing that's going to take me time is I'm going to scan them all for my personal collection now that I own them, and I'm going to digitally remaster them so there'll be a higher quality than if you can read her stories now digitally online, but a lot of them are sort of really crappy scans or even like microfilm or whatever. So I'm going to scan them all at like 600 DPI on my scanner. I'm going to digitally tweak the colors and stuff to get rid of like tanning and stuff. So it'll be the highest quality you can get these reprints. But one thing that frustrates me is that Granny never appeared on any of the covers for National Comics. So what I'm going to do theoretically, if I have the time, is I'm going to draw a new cover for all 14 issues of National Comics, but with Granny showing what the cover would have looked like at the time if Granny had been on the cover instead of the character. They have a character called the Barker who's a like a carnivore barker. That's the character that they decided to feature on the cover, which is just madness to me. I don't fully understand the 1940s, I guess, because there's so many characters in those issues that are so much cooler, but every one of those covers has a dopey Barker cover. So I'm going to draw all new covers for the whole 14 issues. And so I'm hoping to have it out this coming year. We'll see how it goes, but that's the plan right now, is to try and get that done so we can get that. So people that like Granny can get all of her Golden Age appearances in one volume, not too expensive, and a high quality printing. So, we'll see how it goes. One other thing I'm going to do next year, I talked about this in my last live stream, but I want to mention it again because it's just something that I think is really fun. Let me see if I can find it, though. All right, here we go. Let me just have 1 second here. Okay. Next year will mark the 5th anniversary of Crimebuster Comics, which is what I call my imprint here, if you will. And because it was in the spring of 2019 that I did my first Kickstarter for issue 1 of Crimebusters. So next year, to celebrate the 5th anniversary, I'm going to do a series of variant covers where every issue is going to have a special variant that's going to be the Crimebuster Comics 5th anniversary variant. And those are going to look like this. Now, for longtime comic fans, you'll recognize this. This was the design of the Marvel 25th anniversary portrait covers that came out in November of 1986. I'm going to do the same thing here. You can see I've changed this. It says, instead of Marvel Comics 25th anniversary, it says Crimebuster Comics 5th anniversary up here in the left corner. And then I've got this montage of all the characters from my different titles. It's Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam on the right, Quest on the left, and across the bottom is Crimebusters. And then there'll be a portrait. Each issue will have a portrait of one of the main characters. So for Crimebusters, I'm hoping to get 3 issues out next year. That's the plan anyway. We'll see if Mac is able to do that, do the issues that fast. But so issue 6 will have Chuck, issue 7 will have Trixie, and then hopefully issue 8 will come out next year and have Vera. And then we're going to do them for all of them. So quests 3, 4, and 5 will all be out next year, hopefully. And that'll have Vess on issue 3. It'll have Hugin, the Ranger, will be on issue 4. And then Maniac, the Elf, will be on the portrait of issue 5. Then we're going to have one of these for the romance cover, and hopefully the Granny Gumshoe special will also have a Granny cover as well. So I'm really excited for this. I just, I love doing this sort of thing. It's a lot of fun. So hopefully everyone else will like it too. And those covers, I'm going to try and do them like, it's always tricky to figure out how to price the variants. It'll be a little more expensive than the regular version, but they're not going to be like $20 or $30 like the super premium ones. I want to make sure everybody that wants one of these can get them. So it'll be like, instead of $10, it'll probably be like 13 or something. And I'll just need to price them a little bit higher, mainly because of the printing costs. I won't get into all the details, but the printer has a minimum print run, and some of these variants I don't sell as many as the minimum. So in order to make up for those extra like costs that I'm basically absorbing because I'm printing too many copies, I have priced them just a little bit higher to sort of cover the extra copies being printed. Anyway, no one needs to know that, but I'm going to try and keep the price low. And then at the end of the year, I might do a Kickstarter where you can just get the whole set of all, 6 or 8 or however many that ended up being for the year. Just a set of all of the anniversary covers. We'll see how it goes. I would love to get out an issue of Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam. If I can get out Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam number 3 next year as well, it'll be kind of a miracle. But I would like to do that as well, and that would have an Uncle Sam special anniversary cover on it. But let me go back to the Kickstarter. We're inside the last 10 minutes now, so we'll just stay here for the rest of it, I think. And 8 minutes to go. Anyone have any questions about anything at all? We've just got these 8 minutes left. So any questions about the Crimebusters, the trade collection, issue 6, issue 7, like any questions about anything with the Crimebusters or any of the other comics that I just mentioned, or anything else at all? Anything anyone just wants to talk about? I'm going to get a drink while you consider your options. Let's see. My wife asked, what do I want to do for lunch tomorrow? And of course, she's kidding. I'm going to be at a convention tomorrow, though. So what I'm probably actually going to have for lunch would be a protein bar and an apple and like some chips or like a slice of pizza or something. I think they said they're going to have some food for people tabling. So I'm not sure what that's going to be. If I'm lucky, it'll be pizza. But of course, that wasn't the question. You asked, what do I want for lunch tomorrow? What would I want? It's also pizza. So either way. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited to meet people tomorrow at Mice. This is the first. I've been trying to get into Mice for almost the whole 5 years I've been working on this. So I went to Mice in 2018 when I was first starting to write the story for issue 1, and I was very inspired by all the creators there. I bought a bunch of stuff, both because I wanted to support the other indie creators, but also because I was trying to get I just wanted to see the different print quality from the different printers and stuff. So I was getting a bunch of samples basically. And so, I started, the next year, as soon as I had issue 1 done, I applied for Mice and I've been applying every year since. I haven't gotten in. The first year I did attend as part of the Boston Comics Roundtable. So there was one day for about 3 hours. I was there for basically half of one day behind the table, and I did sell several issues of Crimebusters there. But I wanted to get my own table. So even though I don't have the trade, if you do stop by tomorrow, I've got a bunch of other stuff. So I'll have some individual copies of Crimebusters. Some of them are sold out, but I'll have some copies of issues 2 and 3 and 5. And a couple copies of issue 1. I might only have one copy of issue 1, actually, now that I just said that out loud. But I'll have issues 2 and 3 and 5. So if you stop by, and those will be a little bit on sale, because now that I have the trade, I think it'll be harder for me to sell the individual issues. So if you haven't picked up Crimebusters, then it'll be a good way to sort of get a sample of it. I'm also going to have Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam #1, Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam #2, and Quest #1. The regular versions of all of those will be there. I'm going to have the RPG edition of Quest #1 available as well, and that has bonus pages in the back, so you can actually play the story as a module. And then I'll have some copies of the Crimebuster 80th anniversary special. So there's going to be a bunch of cool stuff there, even though I won't have the trade for the convention. There'll still be a bunch of cool stuff if you show up there. Something Silver Knight Kyle. Hi, Kyle. Thanks very much for joining me. Kyle says his notification didn't go off. That's okay. We just got a backer. A last-minute backer. So thank you for the support. I really appreciate it very much. So we're up to 81 backers, $3,342, 3 minutes to go. We got a little bit of last-minute drama. Okay, Chris Davis says, this will give my age, but when my brother and I were growing up, we loved the Adventures of Jerry Lewis comics. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on those. Well, thanks. First of all, thanks for the support, Chris. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the question. It's a good question. I haven't read a lot of them. I do have issue 117, which is the issue that features the mod Wonder Woman in a crossover. I think I got the number right on that. I know that Bob Oxner did the art on a lot of those issues, and he's great. So like, my guess is that they're high quality, and I love that sort of thing. It's surprising to me, and I am a little bit younger than you are, so I have a totally different context in terms of Jerry Lewis. I did grow up watching sort of his movies in reruns on like Sunday afternoon. But by the time, I was watching his stuff in the 80s, he was sort of the guy in the telethon, right? He wasn't doing any new material that anyone was familiar with. So he was sort of like the old guy that did the telethons. So it was always surprising to me just how long DC continued to publish both the Adventures of Jerry Lewis and the Adventures of Bob Hope. The fact that both of those series lasted as long as they did into the late 60s or even the early 70s. I don't think either of them made 20-cent era, but I know that I think they both made 15 cents. So, 69.70 is amazing to me. And my guess is that speaks more to the quality of Bob Oxner and the writers than necessarily huge interest at that time in those comedians. Christopher Snyder. Hi, Christopher. Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Christopher says, I always wait till the last minute. It's rough with student loans resuming next month, but I'm hopeful I enjoy it. Well, I hope you enjoy it as well. I do really appreciate the support. It's a real passion project for me, and I put a lot of myself into it. So I really hope you enjoy it, and I do appreciate it. I understand how difficult the finances can be, as particularly with student loans. So I really am grateful, and I appreciate the trust that you put in me, spending your hard-earned money on my comics. So I really hope you enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to getting it out to you. So thank you very much. Definitely don't take anyone's backing for granted at any time. There's so much stuff out there, and it's, with the economy as bad as it is in particular, it's like, everyone has to really choose exactly what they're going to do with their money. And anytime anyone chooses to use any of that to back my campaigns, I really appreciate it. Well, we can see that the confetti's just gone off, and the final tally for the campaign, 82 backers, $3,362, which means, again, we did hit the stretch goal. So all backers will be getting the trading card number 25, the Dr. I trading card, which I'm looking forward to writing the back of that. The front's already done, but the back, again, I always put a lot of world building information. So there's going to be some cool stuff about Dr. I's backstory that will hopefully be a good tease for when we see her in issue 7. And she's going to be prominent in issue 7. We're going to get some more hints as to who the character is. So I'm excited to actually be able to make the trading card. And to just get the book out there to everybody. So thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it all very much. Before I go, we have reached the end of the campaign, but also the end of our celebration here. So in a moment, I'm going to sign off from the live stream. Before I go, anyone have any other questions about Crimebusters or about Quest or Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam or anything else at all? Any questions anyone has about anything? I'm happy to answer. Emmanuel, I know it's super late, so thanks very much for staying up to watch. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support very much. I'm going to give it another few seconds for questions, because last live stream I did, I said goodbye after I didn't get any questions, and then it turns out there were a couple of comments apparently that came through after I signed off that I never saw, but other people watching the live stream saw after I had already ended it. So I just want to make sure that doesn't happen again. Manuel asks, you swap your Strange Tales complete run for the omnibuses. Have you considered more updates of this sort? Yes. I'm in the process of sorting through my collection. There's a number of complete runs that I'm going to be selling. Combination of different factors. Just need the space. I want to pare things down. I've had some health issues and just want to try to get rid of some stuff. Just sort of clean out the clutter, also raise some more money to make more comics. So I will be doing that. I'm not sure that the series that I'm probably going to be selling have omnibuses, but a couple of them do. So we'll see. It's tricky because what I've been doing in recent years is putting together complete runs, and then I don't read them until the complete run is finished. And so some of the complete runs that I'm thinking about selling, I've never gotten around to reading after spending years putting the run together. I may end up selling them off before I actually read any of them. But, like Master of Kung Fu, I have the complete run. I'm probably going to sell that. I haven't actually read it, other than a few issues that I read back in the 80s. So I don't know. We'll see, though. We'll see. And Kyle asked if I watched the new Nancy Drew. I've seen, the basic answer is no. I've seen trailers. I've seen scenes from it. I haven't actually watched it. I think before you came on, I was talking about Nancy Drew. She's going to be in the public domain on January 1st, 2025. So I'm definitely going to be doing something with the character in Crimebusters, just as the next issue of Crimebusters has a cameo from the Hardy Boys in it, because they are now in the public domain. So I was, when I was a very, very, very little, in the mid 70s, very young, I really liked the Hardy Boys TV show. And so Nancy Drew, that's sort of my context, but I haven't seen the new one. So I should probably check it out at some point. So overnight Kyle asked, would Chuck and Trixie beat Cthulhu? I'm going to punt that question. We may find out at some point in the future. So, or we may not. I don't know. I don't want to say, but no spoilers. We'll have to wait and see. Team name for Nancy Drew, Granny Gumshoe, and Trixie. You know what? I had a team name actually for this. I have it written down somewhere, and I'm blanking on what it is. But that's another thing I'll say. No spoilers, because I may be putting something out with the team name in a comic once I find it. I have it written down in my notes because I have an idea for. I have an idea, so. All right. Well, I think I need to sign off, but sorry to cut the questions short. But thanks again, everyone, for the support, both in terms of backing the campaign, but also just coming and spending time with me and spending this time talking to me here as I count down this last hour. And I'll be back with another live stream when I launch the next campaign. That's going to be on Monday, October 23rd for Quest 2. So. If I don't see anyone in the funny papers between now and then, I will see you all there. Thank you very much. Bye.